y'all, it's Heel Heat time.
Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode we're going to review the WWE Royal Rumble 2019. We're also going to go over my picks for the challenge, which if you've seen the last video, we were challenged by our good friend Poppa Pickett over at Gamers Never Grow Up. Basically, it's a prediction challenge. Who gets the most right wins a prize, and we'll go through that as we're going through my review. Now, first up, neither one of us picked this match because it wasn't announced prior to the show. We have for the Raw Tag Team Champions, it wasn't a championship match, but if they lost, the two teams represented on the other side would get championship shots. Rude and Gable versus Razor and Dawson, or Scott Dawson it is. This match didn't click for me. It didn't do anything. I thought it was kind of boring, kind of pedestrian. I didn't think Razor and Scott Dawson worked well as a team. I don't know why this wasn't something that wasn't on Raw, or this is almost like a match you would see on Superstars. I'm gonna give this one a 2, and then if you haven't seen any of my reviews before, we rate everything on a 1 to 5 scale, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. I'm gonna give it a 2. Rude and Gable win. I don't see the point in it. Neither one of us picked it, so neither one of us made a choice on this because it wasn't announced again. So, therefore, neither one of us got the correct point for it. Now, next up on the pre-show, we had Rusev defending his U.S. Championship against Shinsuke Nakamura. This match I actually liked. I thought it was good. I think these two have a good, decent chemistry with each other. I would have liked it better to be a straight-up match and not have the crap at the end happen, but I understand what it does story-wise. They told a great story with it. We see once again Lana is arguing with Nakamura. Nakamura moves. Rusev knocks Lana off the apron. He's tending to his wife, worried about if she's injured. Nakamura knees him in the back of the head, pulls him in, pins him. We have a new U.S. champion, Shinsuke Nakamura. I picked this one correctly. Paul picked Rusev. I picked Nakamura. I thought this match was good. I'm going to give it a 3. I didn't like the ending, but I understand what it does storyline-wise, and I'd like to see where they're going to go going forward from that. And also, part of that ending is going to play a big role later on in the show, so we'll see that when that happens. Next up, the last match of the pre-show. We have a fatal 4-way for the Cruiserweight Championship. Buddy Murphy defends against Akira Tozawa, Hideo Itami, and Kalisto. And I actually thought this was a really good match. And when I looked at it when it came on, there was roughly 20 minutes left in the show. And in the pre-show, that is. And I kind of wish they would have put it on a little bit earlier and gave these guys a little bit more time, because they only gave them realistically about 15, 14 minutes, and then they had to do their hard sell for the pay-per-view. I thought it was a really good match. This is probably one of my 2 favorite matches of the night. I really enjoyed this. I'm going to give the match itself a 5. Buddy Murphy picked up the win. We both picked Hideo Itami, so we were both wrong on this. So neither one of us gets a point yet again. So far, I picked 1 out of 2 right. Paul is 0 out of 2. We're going to keep rolling with this. And I'm going to go through these kind of quickly, because if I took my time, the video would be 7 hours long, just like the show was. Next up, for the SmackDown Women's Championship, Asuka versus Becky Lynch. This match I actually really liked. I knew what was going to happen. I kind of found it predictable. I thought it might happen a different way than it did, but I knew that Asuka would beat Becky Lynch because the money match is Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey. or Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. I expected Charlotte Flair or Ronda Rousey to interfere in this match to set up the three-way for WrestleMania, which I still think is going to be a three-way match. Neither one of them came down. Becky tapped out to what looked like a modified cattle mutilation from Asuka, so we see she had to dig deep into her bag of tricks. Asuka retains the championship. No one was surprised. Me and Paul both picked this correctly. I'm going to give this match a 4. I really enjoyed it. I think these two got good chemistry. I kind of hope they find something really good for Asuka to do at WrestleMania, because to me she's lost a lot of the steam that she had. I feel, and I've said this before, that they went too hard on the undefeated thing, and once you get to the point where you have to take a defeat, you don't know where you go with a character, and Asuka's kind of suffered from that, and now we see she's starting to build some momentum up again, but she's not quite where she was this time a year ago. Now next up we have, for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, Sheamus and Cesaro, The Bar versus The Miz and Shane McMahon. I thought this was an okay match. I liked it better than the Raw Tag Team match that we were given. I still don't understand when we have a roster that has the Revival, that has the New Day, the Usos, Gallows and Anderson, all under contract. Why in the two tag team matches do we have Razor and Dawson and Miz and Shane? I guess I'll never get what they do with the tag team division. It makes no sense to me. This match was okay. It was solid. I kind of didn't expect much from it. Shane McMahon's offense, as he's getting older, is getting less and less believable. Miz is a decent worker. He's not... I can't get behind Miz as a face. He doesn't work to me. His style doesn't work to me as a face, and that's kind of the role he was playing here, so it kind of was a little bit of a detriment. Sheamus and Cesaro are both excellent workers. The four guys actually are all decent wrestlers. Sheamus and Cesaro are top-notch. I thought this match, it could, like I said with the other match, this could have easily been left on SmackDown. Miz and Shane McMahon pick up the win. I picked this one correct. Paul picked it incorrect. He picked for The Bar. So now I have 3 correct to Paul's 1 correct at this point. And I'm going to give this match here a 3. I don't think it was great. I don't think it was terrible. It, to me, was just on the show, basically. Next up, we have Ronda Rousey defending the Raw Women's Championship against Sasha Banks. And the story on this has been a respect thing. I thought this was a good match. I thought it was solid. Again, like I said with a few of these other matches, the tag match, Rusev and Nakamura, it didn't feel special. It didn't feel like it should be on one of the big pay-per-views. I didn't feel like Sasha Banks going into this had a legitimate chance of winning. And we'll see how that juxtaposes later on when I talk about a different match. But in a match that everybody felt they knew the outcome when, basically every preview and premonition or focus or whatever you want to say, predictions, all picked Rousey to win, including mine, including Paul's. We both picked Ronda Rousey. Ronda does pick up the win. We get a little bit of awkward after-match kind of respect, but still disrespectful thing from Sasha. I give the match a 3. Like I said, it didn't feel special to me. It could be the fact that I knew who was winning, and it just didn't feel like an important match. So we both picked that one right. Paul now has 2. I have 4. So we're rolling into the meat of the card. I'm up by 2. We have 4 matches left to go. Next up, we're going to have the Women's Royal Rumble. Now, if you watch the prediction challenge show, you would have seen that I did make a prediction for the match, but that's not what we're going to go on here. What we went on were random picks, and we're going to talk about those here. Paul got the numbers 1, 13, 15, 16, and 21. He was able to pull Lacey Evans, Charlotte Flair, Maria Kanellis, Naomi, and Ruby Riott. So, out of all that, I think Charlotte Flair and Ruby Riott were solid choices, solid picks for this match. And watching it, I was like, well, there are two women that could actually win it. Naomi, a dark horse that could win too. I, on the other hand, my picks were 3, 17, 20, 26, and 27. I got Mandy Rose, who I didn't think was going to win. Candice LeRae, who I was excited to see in the Royal Rumble. Did not think she was going to win. Didn't think she had a chance. 20 was Zelina Vega, which, again, I was happy to see her there. I think she's a great wrestler. Didn't believe she could possibly win. My last two, though, I thought had an outside chance, and that's at 26, I got Alexa Bliss. At 27, I got Bayley. And for a little while there, they made Bayley look dominant during the Rumble. And Zelina Vega even actually had some good spots where she was hiding under the ring to eventually get chased out of the ring and chased around by Hornswoggle to get eliminated, which I thought was really cool, really neat. I thought that was an interesting spot. I felt like this match kind of lacked a little bit in the surprise factor and the returning legends factor. I mean, we had a number of NXT talent come up: Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, Io Shirai. There were a couple other, Casey Canizaro, and there's one more, but she's slipping my mind, and it's going to be obvious to anybody that watched. But we didn't have, other than Maria Kanellis coming back, we didn't have that surprise legend entrance or that surprise signing entrance. We had all people that were called up or people that came back from injury, which would be Maria and Alexa, which Alexa's been on TV and Maria's been on TV. She's been on Superstar, so they weren't really surprises. So the match itself, I thought there were some really good spots. Casey Canizaro kind of played the role of Kofi Kingston. I love seeing Candice LeRae in there. Charlotte had a really strong showing. Bayley had a really strong showing. Lacey Evans, coming from number 1, had a strong showing in the match. The Riot Squad, I thought, did some entertaining things. There was some really cool stuff going on. 28 was to be Lana. However, we seen earlier in the match she hurt her ankle and she was struggling to get to the ring. So, or was it 20? No, 29, I'm sorry. 29 was supposed to be Lana, I digress. She struggling to get to the ring. We see her fall. The Fit Finley and some doctors and officials are attending to her. 30 hits, Carmella comes out, which they missed an opportunity, but we'll get to that in a minute. First off, they didn't have any dance break, which I thought was interesting that they didn't. But after Carmella comes out, we still see Lana laying there. We see the attendants there. The crowd starts going apeshit because Becky Lynch comes out. And she's pleading with Fit Finley to put her into the match. She's begging him. Finley finally goes, okay, go in it. She goes in. We see what I kind of expected. This is why I kind of believed that Asuka was going to win her match. Becky and Charlotte pretty much dominate from there out. Comes down to them two. I thought it was going to be a fact where they kind of did the Shawn Michaels. Bret Michaels is a singer for Poison. Shawn Michaels and British Bulldog finish, but they didn't. Becky won the match clean, which I was a little bit surprised with. I didn't get any of my random picks right, and my pick that I made just for the predictions, I picked Becky and Charlotte co-winning, so I got that half right. I don't get a point for that either way, but I thought I was pretty solid on it. So I thought this was a good match. I liked a lot of what happened. I give the match itself a 4. The Royal Rumble matches are. I'm a sucker for Battle Royals, and the Royal Rumble pay-per-view has always been one of my favorite pay-per-views. And the Royal Rumble matches themselves, I rather enjoy. And this was a fun one. I would have liked to see a couple surprises. Maybe Beth Phoenix coming from the announce table. Maybe Kelly, even Eve Torres, AJ Lee, which would be a pipe dream, but you see what I mean here. Someone of that nature. Last year we got a ton of them. This year we got barely any. I give the match a 4. I'm really happy that Becky Lynch won. I'm happy that she's the first person that got to point to the WrestleMania sign. We'll see where it goes from here. I'm pretty sure she's going to challenge Ronda Rousey. I'm pretty sure the story is going to be Charlotte saying that Becky wasn't officially in the match, that she demands that she win because she came in second, and they're going to work it into a 3-way, which I believe fully that there is going to be a 3-way main event, and I do think it is going to be the last match on the show of Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey. Now, next up we have, for the WWE Championship, the new Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles. I thought this was a really good match. The crowd was a little bit dead here. I was a little bit surprised with that, with the talent that's in the ring. However, at this point, we were like 5 hours into a 6.5 hour show, so I understand. I've been there. I've been to WrestleMania last year in Orlando, where it was 7 hours of sitting there, and there's a point where no matter how great what's going on in the ring is, you just can't get excited because you're just worn out. You're sitting out in the sun, you're hot, you're dehydrated, you're sunburnt, you're tired. And kind of the feeling I got here is that I think they put on an excellent match so far. My favorite of AJ and Daniels in WWE. I really liked the match. I thought it was solid. Towards the end of the match, we see Eric Rowan come out, and he's kind of wearing a flannel and what looks to be a Charlie Manson shirt. We see the ref take a ref bump. Rowan gets involved, attacks AJ. So we see some kind of connection with Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan. We both picked this right. We both picked Daniel Bryan winning. Daniel Bryan did win. I'm interested to see where this connection between the two goes from here. I give this match a 4. I thought it was really solid. I wish the crowd would have been a little bit more into it. If the crowd were more into it, I think they would have gave a little bit more. Not saying that they didn't put their best effort forward, but I feel like they didn't have that energy to push him over to make it a match that was a 5, if you follow what I mean. We both picked this one right, so at this point I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right, and Paul has 3 right. So Paul has to pick the last 2 right to even tie and make us go to a tiebreaker. Let's go right into it. Next up we have, for the Universal Championship, Brock Lesnar versus Finn Balor. Poppa Pickett, Paul, he picked Lesnar, he picked Balor, I picked Lesnar. I thought this was pretty much a no-brainer as well. To me, it was obvious who was going to win this match. I think Brock is pencil in every year that he's with the WWE to have a main-level WrestleMania match, and that means either a title match or a match with The Undertaker or something of that nature. Well, since there is no Undertaker match, there is no Rock match, there's no, at least not yet, no Goldberg match. None of those are announced or happening yet, so it's pretty obvious that he was going to be in one of the title matches. Since he's a Universal Champion, easiest way to do that is to keep it here. They did make it much like Lesnar and Bryan last year. They made it seem like Balor did have a chance. There was Brock taking a table to his midsection, which, if you know, Brock had diverticulitis, which famously derailed a lot of his mixed martial arts career. And Balor worked on that, and you kind of had a feeling that, well, maybe, just maybe, Balor could win this. Balor ended up looking like $1,000,000 even in losing. Lesnar picks up the win here. I thought this match was fantastic. I gave it a 5 out of 5. This and the four-way match, the four-way cruiserweight match, were my two favorite matches of the night. I picked right, Paul picked wrong. As you can see, the book is shut now. There's no way Paul could win. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 correct, and Paul has 1, 2, 3 correct. So we're going into the main event of the night, the last match, the Men's Royal Rumble. And much like the Women's Royal Rumble, I made a prediction, and we also did the randomizer. We used the same numbers for both Rumbles, just easier that way. And my prediction, to make a prediction, was Seth Rollins. My randomizers, we'll go through Paul's first. Paul had number 1, so he had Elias. He had number 13, which gave him Mustafa Ali. Number 15 gave him No Way Jose. Number 16, he had Drew McIntyre. And number 21, he had Aleister Black. Kind of a mixed bag here. He had some guys. I knew Elias would have a strong showing but not win. Mustafa Ali, same boat. Drew McIntyre was the interesting one of his crew. I thought Drew McIntyre had an outside chance of winning this. Aleister Black, if there was going to be a guy that debuted or got called up in the Royal Rumble and win, he's the guy that I think could have done it. On my end, my picks were at number 3, Shinsuke Nakamura, at number 17, Xavier Woods, at number 20, Apollo Crews, number 26, Bobby Lashley, and number 27 was Braun Strowman. Now, I had some solid picks here. Woods and Crews, I knew they had no shot. Shinsuke, I thought there was an outside shot he might pick up a win here, because I feel like the WWE Championship, they're willing to take more of a chance on the WrestleMania match and not make it a marquee guy kind of thing, even though Shinsuke is a top talent. Bobby Lashley, I had hopes for as he was coming to the ring. He gets eliminated rather quickly, so my hopes got derailed fast. And, of course, Braun Strowman was one of the favorites, one of the guys that I actually considered when I did my pick of Rollins. He did go long. He did come down to being one of the final two. So we had one of my random picks and my actual pick were the final two guys, and Seth Rollins picked up the win. Some really cool stuff. Kofi Kingston doing Kofi Kingston things. Cool spot with Nia Jax coming out and injuring R-Truth and entering the match. Her taking the spots from Ziggler and Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio brought big pops. I don't know if it's because people hate Nia or they just the novelty of it, but either way, that was pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool just because we're starting to see a little bit of the intergender stuff mix in. We had Double J, Jeff Jarrett was number 2 after Elias was number 1. They did a whole thing where they were going to sing together before Elias hit him with a guitar. I thought there was a lot of really cool things going on with Mustafa Ali eliminating Samoa Joe, furthering their feud. So I thought there was some really cool stuff happening here. Aleister Black got some key eliminations. I thought he looked really strong. Andrade, no longer Cien Almas, looked really strong. Mustafa Ali looked really strong. Some guys got their stock elevated in this match, and there was a couple surprise entries, but not necessarily surprises. Kurt Angle, Double J, Jeff Jarrett, Dolph Ziggler coming back in here. So there was a little bit more of that than in the women's match. I thoroughly enjoyed the match. I give the match itself a 5. I thought it was rather good, rather enjoyable. Neither of us on our random picks got the right answer. On my pick just for my predictions, I did get it right. But I digress. So overall, final tally, there were 10 matches on the card. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 of the 10 matches correct. 7.5. Well, actually, let me count this again. Yeah, 6 of the 10 matches I got correct. 7.5 if you go with the predictions I actually made, because I said Becky and Charlotte, so I'm counting that as half right. And 1 incomplete. So I only actually picked wrong the cruiserweight match and the women's match, which ended up being half right anyway. So I thought I did pretty well. Paul unfortunately didn't do as well. Paul picked 1, 2, 3 of them right. Sorry about your luck, Paul. I hate that someone has to lose. I am happy that I am the one that won. I enjoy these. These are super fun. I love doing these with you. It gives me a good reason to watch these pay-per-views that are a lot of times tedious and boring. It did make the matches a lot more interesting because of what we had riding on it. Let's do this again next time for Elimination Chamber, my brother. I know the ball's in my court, so I'm going to have to think of a punishment. With that being said, if you didn't see the predictions video, the prediction challenge video, I want an AEW shirt. I don't know which one, but I'm going to get an AEW shirt sent to me in the mail from Poppa Pickett. We've already agreed that as soon as he gets his taxes back, as soon as I would have got my taxes back, that's what we're going to do. He's going to randomly pick one, he's going to send them to me, and I'm going to do an unboxing video for all you guys to see. With all that being said, thanks again for doing this with me again, my brother. I hate that one of us had to lose, but I'm glad it wasn't me. Until next time, thank you again. Thank you for watching. My name is George Coles, and this has been my review of Royal Rumble 2019.